I,
This time.
you can tell I'm not used to the start of this podcast, because I pressed the wrong buttons and I had us all mute, and the quiz time thing come up.
You're working with an idiot on this end as well, Matt, so it's good.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome everyone. Andrea, Tom, Wayne, how are we all?
G'day, Paul.
Fantastic. What about yourself?
Wayne, we're going good. And Wayne, it's so good to see you online. And thanks for agreeing to be part of tonight's podcast. It's going to be so much fun having a chat with you, and really looking forward to hearing some of your, what can I say, wonderful stories about your life in rock and roll. Wayne, you're a true gentleman and a true rock and roll superstar, and I know you've got a bag full of stories for us. So I'm going to say a few things, and then I'm going to shut up and let you talk, okay. Because, I think you'll be way more interesting than anything I could say.
This year... Thank you, mate.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I said I doubt it, but you're a pretty interesting person yourself, Andrea. So, I'm glad to be on. Thanks so much, mate.
Yeah. So in December, which is a way away, but coming up fast, you have a show at the Rosemount celebrating 50 years of rock and roll, Wayne Green. So I thought we'd start by going back to the beginning, and maybe you could tell us how it all got kicked off for you.
Okay, yeah. One, I'm really looking forward to that show. When I was about 19, I was at I had a job and my wife worked at the same place, and we went to a Hogmanay, which is like a Scottish New Year, I think, with some other workers. And while we were there, they had music on, and we all got pissed, of course, celebrating. And I was just singing along or something or other. And it's a crazy story. I'd never thought about being in a band, even though I love music. And a bloke called Ron Mitchell, who was from England, was there, and he said, "Oh, do you sing, mate?" And I said, No, I love music. And he'd emigrated to Australia for his family to have a better life. But he had played great English guitar player. He'd played with people from Deep Purple. He travelled through Europe during the 60s, everything that I would have loved to have done.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I'll cut the story short, but believe it or not, he said, "You should sing," and I thought, oh. And I always had a romantic outlook on life, and I sort of took it to heart a bit, and And then I started singing more, and we're all singing along together. But the long and short of it is he got back in touch with me and helped me, encouraged me to come over with a guitar, and we learned some songs, and then we advertised, and we actually got a pretty rough band of amateur characters, including myself. And I sang with my eyes closed. I was incredibly shy, very, very bloody shy. So I sang with my eyes tight and everything, and he was teaching the band. He was such a great player. But he was teaching the band songs, and I was singing, and it was all going really well. And then he said, "Well, you're on your own now." He didn't stay in music. He worked at Neon Signs, probably still there. And then he said, "It's up to you now." So with my rough old band, I put an ad in, and then a sax player, whose name was Wayne too, who's a very good friend who's passed away now. He said, no, sorry, we became friends after. We put an ad in for a sax player and a guitar player, and he came along. And he pulled me aside. He's pretty straightforward. And he said, "Oh, fuck, man, I'd really love to stay with you because I like your singing. But we'd have to get another band." That's pretty much what we did. And then, and then from out of the blue, he got me a job in I was really lucky. I got straight into I had a couple of roughies first, bands and stuff like that. And then I got straight into a band with John Meyer and Bob Fortescue, who are really, they're old guys like me now, but they're fantastic players. John's passed away. Yeah. So I got into a really A-grade band, pretty much straight up, and we played Canterbury Court and all over the place, and I thought, shit, this is easy, But my shyness kept me kept me from being very demonstrative. I sang like hell and screamed a lot. I think that was all an inner thing I had going at the time.
Yep.
And thoroughly enjoyed it. But it was probably about a year later I opened my eyes and looked at the crowd and thought, oh, fuck, we're in this together, you know. And that's what it was, really. That's how simple it was.
Wow.
And I owe a great deal of gratitude for it. But I've never seen him since. Yeah.
No, really? Okay. Isn't that interesting that he just popped into your musical life like that, gave you a start, and then just walked away and left you to it? Wow. Because there's not many people in the music, biz, it seems, who will help you out for, you know, no expectations like that. That's really cool.
No. And especially for a rank beginner, or I wasn't even thinking about music at the time.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful story. It's serendipity at its best.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I didn't know that one of your earliest bands had John Mayer in it. I mean, he's such a legend nationally. Played with bands like Rose Tattoo as well as Saracen and Trilogy here. Doing solo stuff. An amazing guitar player. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the whole band was well above my level. I was an amateur, but by the time they rehearsed me up and they gave me enough confidence, they were good blokes to work with. It went really well. And oddly enough, I think it's probably my vocal range has dropped over the years from too many cigarettes and years of drinking and abuse, and just age itself. I'd taken all the top off my voice, but I had a lot of top.
I find it really hard to believe that you've been going for 50 years. I wouldn't have put you a day over 38. That's the rock and roll.
You just made a friend for life, man. a lot of people think I'm 83, so no, I'll take that. Thank you.
It's all good. And the idea of 50 years, Wayne, as well, you know, it may be a bit more, it may be a bit less, but you landed on 50 years because it's a good number, and it seems right, doesn't it, to sort of revisit some of the glory this year and sort of show people that you still have life in you as well, and you still got. It's a pretty decent lineup. Sorry, you go.
For the December show.
Yeah.
Jeez, I couldn't have picked a better one myself, and I'd have to thank you for that, I think, Andrea, for putting that little lot together. But I'm extremely wrapped up.
Yeah. There's some amazing people there who were so thrilled to have the opportunity to share a stage with you, which I think is a mark of, the respect that you still command as a muso in this town, and I love that. It's it's a beautiful story, but there's a lot of steps along the way. We've only just really started. So, when did the Phantoms start to form and turn from an amoeba into a force of nature?
In the officially, our first gig we did, which was a great harbinger of what was to come. We played at a wake in Medina. There was a lot of Scottish people and a lot of Irish people there, and it got very wound up. And they had a cabaret band, and we were told to get going, and we were telling, get off the fucking stage. We want to have a go in that. And there must have been some ill feeling we didn't understand during the night, but we got about halfway through the first song, and a wild brawl erupted from people from grandparents, fathers, lots of young blokes and women all fighting. And we were doing the sound. And we were doing the soundtrack to it, basically, but I was fascinated by it and just said to the band, just keep playing, But it got right out of control. And then the next day, the drummer, who'd only done the one gig with us then, Kevin Rooney, rang up and said, I'm not, it's too dangerous. And he lived in Medina, but he took it to heart. He's a lovely guy, he's a gentle guy, but maybe he thought it was going to be like that every time.
Every time.
So we played it, and then we had to get another drummer, and then our official first gig was sometime in '79, I think, at Raffles Hotel. And then again, that came pretty easy for a bunch of blokes who only wanted to play loud and not be told what to do. We played 300 odd gigs that year, so
Wow.
that was '79. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
311 or something like that. I can't remember. It's the only time I ever kept a record of gigs we'd played. And physically, it was took a fairly heavy toll by the following Christmas, but it was a really exciting time. And the amount of work then, it makes me sad now how things have turned out, especially for younger bands, trying to find their way.
It's very different,
just been up,
isn't it? Yeah.
It's a totally different world, Andrew. Yeah. I'm glad I'm older. Funnily enough, it's one of the few reasons I'm glad I'm older, is that I got to experience in WA in the old backyard a very exciting rock and roll era and punk era came in about the same time over here, and it was thrilling. It was really, really exciting, and we could express ourselves properly. We didn't take shit off anyone. We didn't make a lot of dough, but we didn't. We played rock and roll, and we lived rock and roll how we wanted to. And I feel the word blessed is used a lot in recent times. But I should feel blessed. Yeah, and even now, if I don't sing once a week, this will sound crazy, but if I don't sing once a week, even in a duo, I go mad. I don't like it. So for all the there's some great young bands in Perth. Rat Salad, who's playing in December, being one. They're fantastic,
aren't they? Yeah.
But and to their credit, I actually said they're doing a few gigs around town shortly as well. But for young bands starting, and I'm only speaking for rock and roll, not anything else. But young bands starting out, the whole point of playing music to me is playing live. The recording's great. If people buy your recording's great, but the live experience is something for the punters as well as the bands that you can't buy. So I feel very sad about that.
Yeah. So did you ever get into trouble?
Yeah.
Get into much trouble when you were performing?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tell us. Spread some goss.
Well, the biggest trouble wasn't actually performing, but I did accidentally rob a dress shop.
Oh, yeah?
On the way home from a gig.
Yeah.
Does that count?
Yeah.
That's a cool story. No, I was just really at it. We tried, this is going to sound awful now. My girlfriend and I tried these Rohypnol or something that they use to probably stun elephants, I reckon.
Yeah.
And we'd been out drinking all night. We're in an unregistered car, typical rock and roll behaviour. And we'd left Freo and we got some pot for people. I wasn't dealing it, but I scored for some people and put it in a brown paper bag. So we pulled up about 3 a.m. anyway on the footpath because it was a weather like it's been lately. And we didn't have windscreen wipers, so we couldn't see too far. And then I said, we'll just pull over for a while. And we had plenty of pile. I'll roll a joint, And okay, babe, and they talk very slowly on Rohypnol. And then I hear, babe, and she goes, can you get me that dress? What the hell are you talking about, Babe, can you get me that dress, And the Rohypnol voice was very whiny. So I got the joint going, and I couldn't even see out the window. So it turned out I'd parked on a footpath, so outside a boutique.
Yep. So
she rubbed the glass on the window and said, that one, and I was red dress in the window. I said, no, we'll come back and buy it, She had a fairly well-paying job, and no, I want it now, And I said, no, I'm not doing it. Even though I've done like this, I think alcohol is the main reason, but you chuck in a few Rohypnol, you're bound to do anything. So in the end, we finished the joint. I said, fuck it, it drove me mad, the voice. So all I remember is I got out and booted the window in, these big doors. And then the next thing I remember is I was sitting in the car with I was sound asleep, and somebody grabbed my arm and went, Jesus, and it's a cop. And then I look out there and I could see through the mist, and there's about 3 or 4 cops and some old bloke who turned out he was a taxi driver and had witnessed the whole event. And he's yelling out, there's 3 of them, and I said, shut up, mate, I'm in enough shit, So I got out of the car, and yeah, there's 3 of us, mate. And I said to the cops, mate, I don't even know what I'm doing. Can you tell him to shut the fuck up just for now? Yeah, well, be quiet. And so he looked a bit surly. So then the cop goes, what are you doing? And I looked around and I realised where I was, and I said, oh, I'm robbing a dress. Looks like I'm robbing the dress shop, And he said, is anyone with you? And I said, no, because I couldn't see my girlfriend anyway. And anything you should show us? I said, no. And I'd forgotten under the front seat, right under my feet, probably in a puddle, with a brown paper bag with, I don't know, about 6 bags to pot in it, 6 ounces or something for friends. And he grabbed the bag out and I said, oh, okay, I forgot that one, it's pot. Oh, okay, mate. I thought I was pretty easy to deal with. I didn't argue at all, and I confessed to everything before we got to the cop shop. And in the meantime, through the rain, there's another big cop comes out of the shop carrying my girlfriend. Like a little baby, sound asleep. And they'd found, God bless her little heart, but they'd found her under a dress rack in the shop, sound asleep, like a little curled up, like a little puppy or something. And then I said, oh, well, yeah, that's my girlfriend. And hi, babe. I said, hi, love. What are you doing? Said, at the moment, we're in shit. So they put her in the car so she could, have a bit of a nap. And then the guy says, and I said, look, it was a misunderstanding. I wanted to get her address. I'm really pissed out of it. So I've made a big mistake and I'm sorry, And they said, they pointed to the back of the car. And unfortunately, my girlfriend had got carried away.
Oh.
And, yeah, it was chock-a-block. It was full to the top. From a drunken escapade to
a shopping spree.
When I counted it was called grand larceny. And I ended up in the Supreme Court. I just something I never meant to do. And I was lucky, and the judge, I told him I lived in a twilight world of rock and roll and didn't know what the fuck I was doing, And he was a decent bloke. And he gave me 2 years, but as usual with a pause, and I shit myself and was reaching for the cigarettes. And he goes, suspended sentence, And I said, oh, phew. And you two aren't allowed to hang around together anymore, It
made you break up with your girlfriend?
Yeah, well, I could let on a horrible thing now, but there was actually somebody I was having an affair with, to be honest. I was away from home. Yeah. So that bit didn't hurt too much. But I was just crazy, and I almost ended up in jail, which I wouldn't have liked. I wouldn't have liked at all. So, that's one of my adventures from that period.
It seems, Wayne, that your life, particularly in music, has been a whole series of things you never really meant to do. But it's kind of worked out, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
It's sort of like the opposite to my life, because I've got a whole heap of things that I'm supposed to do, and I forgot. Like I forgot to organise the quiz for tonight.
Oh no!
Doesn't matter. I just got while you were chatting away. I was on there going, I've got a quiz sorted out.
Good.
Yeah.
How quick is that?
Yeah. AI is a marvellous tool. Who knows what questions we're going to be getting?
Yeah, I get the sense of that now. I have done a lot of things I haven't meant to do.
Yeah.
Some I'm sorry for and some I'm not. I've got the question now. The other thing is anything that's happened to me almost of a good nature as well.
Yeah.
Has been by chance.
Yeah.
By serendipity or whatever. But every opportunity I've ever had is by chance, and I never expected it. One, I was never overly ambitious.
Yeah.
And things came to me. Yeah.
So I because I miss out on a lot of. Oh, Tom, do you want to say that? You want to go?
Yeah, I was going to ask a question. It's funny that you mentioned serendipity and things happening to you in a good way. Because I recently saw an interview you did in 2020 with RTR, and it was with you and Lee Shapro, who I believe is your partner, and how you two first met. Could you tell Andrea and Paul about that? Because it's really a cute story.
It's outrageous, isn't it? I forgot that interview. This is one, it's my stupidity and my not reading a situation. And two, for all my rock and roll hilarious ways and outgoing ways, I'm actually really shy in certain areas. And, so Lee, who's brought a lot of joy to my life, and we've been together 9 years since now. But I was at a gig at the Cave Bar or something, I think it was, down here, downstairs with my band and another band. And I was just sitting there chilling out, and this tall lady with dark hair and tattoos came in. And she had to pass me to work. She was actually coming to see the other band, that they'd asked her to do something with them or something. And I said, "How you going?" And we exchanged a few words. And then I sound like a kid, but I fell in love straight away. And I wasn't looking for a partner. I was a single dad at the time. I didn't want to bring anyone else into my life. And every time I had, I'd fucked it up pretty much. So I didn't want to inflict it on anyone else. But and then when I was singing, it was the first time I'd taken, and the last time now I'd ever taken not the first time I'd taken my shirt off, but the first time in quite a while. And she reckons that it was because I was showing off, and I wouldn't be surprised. And I also was given a clock about that round, those old-fashioned kitchen clocks, to remind me of what time we finish our sets. And I've never been big on that anyway, so I smashed it on my face and made it hilarious. Made her laugh. And then we said goodbye on the way out, and didn't express anything other than
So you could say you were acting like a clockhead. I'm working on my dad jokes. I've just got to work a bit harder. I've got to.
Definitely.
I'll give you 6 for that. That wasn't too bad. Yeah, I was acting like a clockhead. And then I'd forgotten, and I didn't know Lee had been singing for years, and I've been singing for even more years. And I didn't know who she was. She didn't say her name, I didn't. And we'd never bumped into each other. We had bandmates that had played in the same bands, and I worked with Lee, but never met and didn't really know a lot about each other. And then I was down in Freo, and Adele Hitchcock, I went down to Get Lucky to buy some clothes from Perth. And we were just driving around a bit, and I saw this big, tall woman. She said to me, "Do you know Lee Sappho?" And I said, No. And she goes, "That's her there walking up the street to the house I'm sitting in now." And I said, "That's her." And it was. And this is like months, maybe a year later. It's a very long process. And then what happened? Then we met at a gig, and I showed off, and big time. I was only doing a duo thing, something to do with original music and that. She was there with a piano player doing her songs. So I got up and be cheeky and all that. And she pretty much told me to shut the fuck up. I was showing off when she was singing, which you shouldn't do. But she told me in a nice way. And then I thought, and I forgot all about getting her phone number or talking to her or anything. And it went on. And then finally, somebody gave me, fine. I was doing a gig at the North Freo Bowling Club, and Lee came. And I'm probably missing a bit of this out, but it's a huge, long story. And I thought, I'm not going to waste any more. Oh, that's right. I'd gotten her phone number, and it was the wrong one. So I was ringing her for a while, and I thought, my geez. A mate of mine gave one digit out. It's crazy. It's a crazy adventure. So in the end, I did something, and she came to see me sing, and I thought, well, I'm not going to be shy anymore. I'm just going to go for it, So we sat and talked for about half an hour before I sang, had a quiet drink and a smoking it together, and I was right about falling in love. It was fantastic. I felt like a little googly kid. So I got up and showed off some more in my rock and roll band. And then at the end, this is my favourite bit, it was like the parting of the sea. I thought, I'm just going to go over and kiss her or walk towards her. If she doesn't want her, she'll, do a zigzag or an evasive tactic with the elbow or something. So it's like the sea parted, how I remember it anyway. And there she is. And now, when I met her, she'd had dark hair, and now it's beautifully aged silver hair, like a fucking halo.
Yeah.
So I saw the halo, and I'm going over lips like that, my lips were leading my body and face over there. And she came towards me, and I said, well, it's going to be one or the other, either or smooch. And we smooched for quite a while. And then I smooched all the way out to the car park. And I caught a bus down from a train down from where I was living with my mum before she passed away. And so I smooched all the way out to the car. Her friend was driving and cuddled and was eating and all that. And then I went and sat on a bench outside the bolo, and I thought, oh, it's quiet, and it was closed. I know, oh, shit. And then I looked, and I didn't have any money. And this is now about 1 o'clock and a really cold night. I thought, oh, shit. So I rang a mate of mine and said, mate, I'm stuck. So he sent me an Uber, and I went and stayed at this place. And then eventually we made a date. Oh, no, that's where I got the wrong number off my mate Nigel, whose place I went to. Lee, can you give me a number? Because I'd forgotten to ask her again. Yeah, mate, and he did. And then I kept ringing and getting no answer. And I thought, oh, no, this is not good, And then I'd invited her somewhere, and I hadn't got back to her, and she thought I was being a wanker. And I was thinking that she wasn't keen. And finally, a day or two before, I rang somebody else, Steve Ellis or someone, I think, said, is this the right number? And he said, no. And when I rang her, I got it straight away.
Yeah.
And so she came to see the gig, and that was it for us then. And I've never been anywhere since.
Well, that's pretty cool. Hey, just
wait,
quickly, I just got yelling out to everyone who's tuned in to listen to Wayne. You can leave questions in the chat, and I'll get them on, and I'll ask Wayne the questions.
Sure.
But in a second, I've got 10 questions that AI have asked me to ask you.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
So I might, if everyone's all right, I might get through some of them now. Is up for it?
All right. Oh yeah, this will be fun.
This is what AI has asked me to ask you. So let's see how this goes. If your music were an animal, what type of animal would it be and why?
Oh God.
Yeah. And remember, this is AI's asked these questions. Yeah.
I'll say a lion. One, it's obvious because of the loud volume of rock and roll, but also the power and the passion of it.
Yep.
Of their roar. I'll say a lion. That'll do.
Okay.
I won't care.
Nah. What's the weirdest sound you've tried to sneak into a track?
Oh, geez. Well, I sneaked in playing harmonica onto one. That was pretty ordinary, but I talked myself into the fact it was good. We've left Gun Beetle Studios, where I've been recording for the last 20 years with my best mate Gary. We've got a couple of tracks where it was like a thunderstorm, accidental, and we don't pretty tracks up, we just leave them. There's been the odd dog or children sound, but I can't remember if anything introduced, to be honest. I do introduce whistling, which a lot of people find weird, but I love whistling. But I have actually got that on a few tracks.
This one's a bit weird. See what you can get out of this one. If you could only play in venues shaped like a fruit, what fruit would it be?
Oh,
Like, you could play it the big banana or the big pineapple. Is there any other?
oh, yeah. Oh, geez.
The big
Fruit
kumquat?
is kind of the antithesis of rock and roll. It's more like spice, like a hot chili or something. No worries. A fruit. I think AI's got me there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. No.
The
I'll
big
say a pot
kumquat.
plant.
What was that, Andrea?
A pot plant.
Big kumquat.
Yeah. If you call pot a fruit, I'll go for that.
Yep. Okay. The next one.
That works.
What musical hill would you die on? An example, a controversial opinion that you firmly stand by. Like cowbells are criminally underrated. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, musically, I'll live and die by the fact of several, really. One, that rock and roll should be played loud as fuck.
Yeah.
Always, and there's no excuse not to. If it's not loud, it's not rock and roll.
Yeah.
There's that one. No, I think that'll do.
Okay. When was the last time music genuinely made you cry, and what was playing?
Ooh, I cry a lot to music. I've made myself. This sounds weird, but I've made myself cry singing sometimes.
Yeah.
And still blubber on. The most I ever cried singing a song was at my mum's funeral, and she asked me to do Forever Young by Bob Dylan.
Yep.
And I had a girl who played and did harmonies with me, and I didn't get through the first word, and I wept openly, like loud.
Yeah.
Like that, tears rolling down past my sunnies I couldn't see, and it didn't wear off. It was like that for the whole 4 minutes of the song, I think.
Oh.
And after that, I was drained, like I was wrecked. Yeah. So that'd be that one. Anytime I listen to Ray Charles, I can get a good cry up.
Yep.
I love sentimental music.
Yep.
That's I have a huge love for it.
Okay.
It touches me.
Which song do you wish you could erase from existence? No questions asked.
Erase?
Yep.
Oh, geez, I could think of a few. Well, I've always had a weird thing about John Farnham, and I feel really sorry now that he's a crook. But I always showed him some disrespect. I almost had a punch-up with him once at Scarborough Beach during the day. So I'm going to say, yeah.
We'll circle
There's
back around
two
to this
songs.
one.
Well, I don't reckon. Well, I'll stand on the top of the mountain on this one. I don't reckon that you can record at any age a song like Sadie the Cleaning Lady.
Yeah.
And ever say you're a rock and roll singer.
Oh, I love it.
I know people love him, and he's probably the day we had our little fracas down the beach.
Yeah.
I could have become famous if it had gone another 5 minutes, because I would have been stuck into him. I was trying to.
So
The security. But I always had a thing about false idols, and people love him. And there's no doubt he's a talented guy. You don't need me to tell you that. He's a great singer, but I get really pissed off when people call him a rock and roller, because you can't do that. And while I was at it, after that day, I went home to my mum.
Yeah.
How's your day down the beach, love? It was a gig, and I said, oh, not real good, Mum. And I told her the story, and I knew I was going to get it.
Yeah.
She always stuck by me her whole life. Pulled me out of jail, everything, my mum. Not Johnny Farnham.
Well, he's not a rock artist, though, is he?
No, well,
He's a pop artist.
Pop artist. I'll go for that.
Yeah.
So years later, you're dead right.
But I think the closest thing he got to rock and roll was when he did a stint in Little River Band.
Oh,
I reckon too, actually.
Yeah.
I actually like that, yeah. So, and I always imagine, because everybody loves him, Nanas, he certainly crossed the great divide with everybody. My mum and everybody loved him.
All right.
And also, when I first the internet came out, I checked out something, and you can check this out if you want to laugh. There's actually a song called "Hey Mr. Whippy, Can I Have an Ice Cream Too?" around that same time, John Farnham. If you watch it, if you don't fall over laughing or having strange ideas about things, I'll go he.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that. I've probably heard. There's so many terrible songs.
Yeah.
I hate more songs than I love. So, but I'll just say that for that reason for now.
What's your musical guilty pleasure that would shock your fans?
Oh wow! Being a huge Ray Charles fan probably wouldn't shock too many of my fans. I've got a deep love for country music, but only same as pop and rock and roll. And there's the amount of good country music. Now I don't think there's any, to be honest, full stop, outside of Lucinda Williams maybe, or Steve Earle, not that they're that old. I mean, not that they're that young.
Yeah.
But I love great country music.
Yeah. Okay. If you're
guilty pleasure out of that.
If your touring van, if your touring van could talk, what's the first story it would tell?
Touring van?
Yep.
Ooh, geez. Ooh. Ooh, geez. No, you actually got me there. It'd mostly be related around all of us being drunk.
Yep.
And 2 or 3 of us not having a license, but drinking the whole trip. I know that's nothing to be proud of. But we drove thousands of miles drunk.
Yeah.
Never had a prank. And kind of out in the bush. So it'd be more of that, really, than just listening to music and being mates. We didn't have, mobile sex.
Yeah.
It wasn't a mobile sex bus or anything. Even when we were just blokes having fun. So I'd say that every idiot that drove the bus was pissed. Sadly.
Yeah. All right. You're stuck on a desert island or deserted island with one chord progression. What is it?
Oh, for me, GCD.
Yeah. Cool. That was a quick one. Final question. Do you ever talk to your instruments? And if so, what would it say back?
I'm only a rudimentary guitar player. I learnt busking in King's Cross, and I never developed it properly. So I'd say, the guitar thing would probably feel very aggrieved every time I get near it. So I think it would say, piss off.
Cool. Oh, there's my 10 questions.
On guitar, but I can write songs on them, but I'll take them to better players.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Since we're asking, sorry, Andrew.
Tom, I'm just going to real quick, if you don't mind, because you talked about your love for country music just a moment ago, Wayne. Do you want to talk about your incarnation as Kid Green, the country musician who went to Nashville and signed to a major label, and et cetera, et cetera? Tell us that part of your story. How did you fall ass backwards into that opportunity?
Luck, again. Pure luck. That's another. They're all long stories, but I'll try and cut it down. A friend and I had a band here, and I went through a really cynical stage and wasn't really enjoying being in a band or music. The business got to me. Perth had huge venues, and they were all cover bands, and I was just feeling aggrieved by everything. And my mate and I thumbed over east. I think I was in my late 30s or something. Yeah, 37, 38 or something. And he could play guitar and I couldn't. And we had no dough. And we got a lift over with this bloke who took us out of a newspaper. And unfortunately, when we got to the first garage, we explained to him that neither of us had any dough. And he was a fairly sedate old school teacher guy. And we said, we're really sorry, mate, but we'll do a lot of the driving. And anytime you stop, don't feel obliged to buy us food, you know. So he said, yeah, no worries. And he took us, and we got there. Then he went and borrowed a nylon string guitar off a friend of his. And we went to King's Cross busking, which I'd never done before. And we sang great together. He sings really high and like John Fogerty type of singer, great singer. And we were doing real well with his old guitar and using the things off bread packets for picks. But I wasn't playing because I couldn't play guitar at all. And then he got, to cut it down, he got involved with some other characters and stuff and wandered off. And I said, well, I don't want to be an a cappella busker in fucking King's Cross. Show me something. He showed me 3 chords, D, A, G. And he said, just change when you think your voice should change and start with Dead Flowers, which is a Rolling Stones song, which I still do in my band. And so, you know, I play ding, 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 like that, and sing loud and play soft. But in the end, I ended up with the first night I had a repertoire of 9 that all in the same 3 chords that I just moved corners. But I really enjoyed it being there because it got me back playing face to face to people, and in a very passionate place like King's Cross. I redeveloped my love of music, and I wrote. I'd written before, but only as a lyricist, and so I wrote this song called "The Lonesomest Waltz," which I think it was in D, A, G. I'm not sure, but I later on worked out there's other 3 chord progressions. So I wrote the song, and then some friends of mine who were in a band who were living in Sydney, who went over there, they're called the Hurricanes, a really lovely band of young blokes, had a 4-track. So I went and recorded that and a couple of Midnight Bus and a few other songs that were covers. And I ended up sending a copy back to my brother, and apparently there was a big resurgence in country music in Perth at the time. Unfortunately, it wasn't alt country, it was just crap, really. But everyone was on it. So I sent it back, and then somehow or other, somebody else heard it. And then another really good friend of mine, Phil Bennett, who I play with, occasionally piano player, his brother's a film producer, director in Sydney. Phil sent him the song, and he said, "Oh, is that Wayne Green?" He goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "What's he doing country music?" You know, and he said, "Oh, I don't know, really." So he got it in his head because he knew me as a blood and guts rock and roll or whatever, and he just got in his head that he'd like to do a film about it, and which was a great idea. And then I recorded some more stuff, and then it became a bigger thing. I went to Sydney. They looked after me for a couple of years, but then the movie unbelievably got too big. Yeah. And in the end, Disney and all those kind of people wanted to be in on it, but it wasn't. It was going to be a dark musical comedy based on my life. But while I was in King's Cross, the end of it all was I got pissed one night, and I don't know, about 5 a.m, and I'm not sure why still, but I jumped into a bank window.
Which bank? Which bank?
I can't remember, mate. I really can't. All I remember was the glass was heavy, and I just headbutted it. I've tried to understand in later years why. I was very frustrated with life and cynical and that, but and I was drunk, of course. But I think I just had a snap moment. I don't think it was suicidal or anything like that. And I was very lucky I didn't cut a major artery or something. I broke my collarbone. I'm still, every now and then, I still get little lumps around my face with a little bit of glass, and I'll squeeze it back out. But I was very fortunate. I had a few gashes, and then, but as the movie thing was going to higher authorities or to higher companies, which buried the original indie idea, the lady who was producing it, who's a real go-getter, went to Nashville and knocked on doors that Jesus wouldn't get into, and got me a contract with Warner Chappell, the biggest publishing house in the world, as a country artist. And then they signed me and flew me over there for free, and we had a great old time. But the contract turned out that it was signed tied to the movie. So I signed a contract which was worth a shitload of dough. Again, which I'd never sought, but luck came my way, or didn't quite come far enough. That the movie had about, and in the end, I wasn't even going to be in it. They were going to get someone better known than me, an American guy, and they changed the whole thing and they put an Indigenous character into it, which was fine by me. I didn't care at that stage, but none of it was. They were trying to make it like Crocodile Dundee music, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know who was going to be me.
Tom.
But
Oh,
Tom Cruise is my movie version of John Farnham, except I've never tried to punch him down the beach. No, I don't know who he played me. And I don't know that it ever came up, to be honest. But either way, I would have stood to have made a lot of dough out of it. And then I came back and lived in the Blue Mountains for a while. But gradually, just as movies do, apparently, it just faded, and that was that. So I came back to Perth, got a crack country band together, but of rock and roll mates and stuff. Oh, and a fiddle player, all kinds of things.
Yep.
And played at the clubs, the country clubs, and some liked it, but Jesus, they're very, very close-minded about. They come to a guy who's singing his guts out on his own songs. But it'd be a good idea if you played Blanket on the Ground, And I said, it'd be a good idea if you fucked off, mate, and leave me alone. Get advice off, a guy called Tex, who's about 4'6" English guy. He's probably don't know what he does during the week, but he wears this huge hat that 8 sizes too big. And we had one club, and I'll give you some advice, son. I go, oh, thanks, Tex. Do you mind playing at the wicked stuff first, because we like to dance and we go home early? I said, no, I don't, mate. And the same playlist. I've written it. I'm not changing it. Well, you'll be missing out. He said, yeah, well, maybe I will, But I kept getting all this advice. I did a gig in Metropolis supporting, with Lucky Oceans and a few fairly good players in the band, supporting Lucinda Williams, Roseanne Cash, and I feel bad, I can't remember the other lady's name, but they all sat on a stool and came out one at a time and sang.
Yeah.
And I supported them. And I cried. I actually cried watching Lucinda Williams sing. And it was all very dark and they were all in emotional states. It was one of the greatest gigs I've ever seen. When I got back out to the country clubs and that, they picked the show apart.
Yeah.
They picked the Mary Chapin Carpenter was the third person.
Yep.
Wow.
And a Tex or a version of Tex would come. Oh, Wayne or Kid. I'll call myself Kid or Kid. I'd say to them, how'd you enjoy the show? Oh, it was too down. They're three of the best songwriting country women you're ever going to fucking hear in your life. We couldn't dance. Fuck me, and you were too loud. So in the end, I just blew it all at once. I couldn't take any more of I didn't kowtow anyway. I would just tell them to crack up every time they annoyed me. But I had a bad flu, so I drank I thought, I'll go and get a bottle of port. That'll help, from the bottle shop at the Manning Hotel. So I bought a bottle. Actually, I bought 2. And I drank it out of the brown paper just to piss them off. But I ended up getting that drunk. I started swearing at them. With their ignorance. And I never used the C word, but I actually did that night. And I said, you're all a bunch of whinging, bastards. And you can all get fucked, and within and it was their show, it was their gig, and they pretty much all left. But the guy, Shorty Long, who ran that pub, loved me and he loved my band. He had to put them on side because they brought in the big dough.
Yeah.
But I just went upstairs and got drunk with him till about 5 a.m. for free and listened to good country music. And he said, don't worry, what do you call them? Veggie soup. They're just like veggie soup, mate. Don't worry about them. I don't know what that means even, And then I just stopped the last stuff and stuff like that. It was easy to play rock and roll, which wasn't easy either, so.
when you said that veggie soup, you just reminded me of a joke.
Yeah. Oh, another one. Yeah.
I'm not allowed to say this one, so I'm going to put it back into the memory bank for when.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I don't want to get into trouble because, yeah, I'll get into trouble.
You want to keep the show clean. Okay.
But before we get too far into it, Tom, want to talk about some gigs?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right.
So coming up this weekend, we have Perth boys, the Surf Shop Cops performing at Mojo's Bar, releasing their second single, Girls Colour, which is a song that's only 2 minutes long about masculinity and all that sort of thing. I still haven't figured out why girls and masculinity are in the same sort of thing, because they're both different things, but maybe I'll figure it out once I have a few more listens. And for national bands, we have Austin McKay, who is a country artist who is touring around Australia at the moment, celebrating the release of his new album, Chasing the Wheel. And from what I've heard so far, the tour is going absolutely amazing. And Kesha, a big pop artist that needs no introduction, has announced that she's going to be touring Australia next year.
Oh, wicked. Huge. And don't forget, the QR codes on the screens of each one. My one goes to Pop Rock Radio. Tom goes to the gig guide. So if you want to look at some great gigs around Australia and around the world, we have some international ones on there. Go to that. If you want to check out Andrea on Around the Sound, go to her one. And if you want more information on Wayne Green's 50th year tour show in December, the QR code will take you to Wayne Green's Facebook page. So there you go. There's all the QR codes. Get snappy in.
The quiz.
Yeah, get ready for the quiz.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I've got the quiz. I've got the quiz here. So I just got to get something to score on. I did have something here earlier on. I've got a collection of these library card things on my desk, so I'll use that. Let's do that. Yep. And basically, all you have to do is call your name out. First person to call your name out will get a shot at the answers. Everyone online can play at home or type the answer in the chat if you want. But before we go, we've got to do this. Come on, work. It's not working. There you go. We're back. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just wouldn't come back. We wouldn't come back. Are you ready for the quizzes? As like I said, just call your name out. There's 30 questions. We don't have to do all 30, but if you want to, we can. Okay, question number 1. Which band released the hit Down Under?
Andrea.
Yep.
Men at Work.
Correct. Next question. Who was the lead singer of In Excess?
Michael Hutchins.
Tom.
Yep.
Both put your hand up.
Oh, you're supposed to call out your name, but that's okay. You're way ahead of Tom anyway. Which Australian artist? Yeah. Which Australian artist sang "Torn" in 1997?
Oh, Andrea.
Tom.
Yep. Andrea.
Natalie. Yeah.
Yep. Did we have that question last time? I don't know. What city are Tame Impala originally from?
Perth.
Andrea.
Yep, Wayne got it. You got it.
Sorry, Andrea.
Which had a
Yeah.
Which band had a hit with "Are You Gonna Be My Girl"?
Tom.
Tom.
Jet.
Correct. Who sang "Chandelier"?
Tom.
Yeah. Tom.
See ya.
Yep, correct. Which Australian group is known for the song Geronimo?
Oh, I know this.
Yeah, they're one of
But
my
I can't-
favourites. They're pop.
Yeah, it's a great song. I
I
can't
know
think of the
the
name. All right, step it out.
Tom?
Shepherd.
Correct. Oh, Tom's edged ahead. Which
Oh.
Indigenous artist released the album Gurrumul?
Oh, I know who it is. I can't pronounce his name.
Tom.
Yep.
Gurrumul.
Yoful Yindi.
Nah.
Was it Gurrumul?
No, it's not.
I'll give it to Andrea because she said Gurrumul, but it's Jeffrey Gurrumul Yanapingu. Pinju.
Oh, it's Yanapingu. I was thinking Yanapingu Yoti, but
But I'll give it to you because
yeah.
you did say Gurrumul. You did say Gurrumul, which is the closest we got to anyone.
Yeah.
Which band released Beds of Burning?
Wayne,
Yep, Wayne.
Midnight Oil.
Correct.
Midnight Oil.
Yep. Okay. Question 10. Who won Australian Idol in 2003?
Oh, Andrea, Shannon
Yeah.
Knoll.
No.
No.
Oh,
No.
Wayne.
Tom.
Yeah, Wayne.
This is a guess from Lee, actually. Who'd you say? Guy Sebastian.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh,
Last
yeah.
question's correct. All right, we're up to indie and alternate scene. 5 questions for indie and alternate scene. Which Aussie band released The Less I Know, The Better?
Ooh.
We just had a question on them too.
Wasn't that Tame and
Tom?
Tame Impala.
Yeah.
Uh,
Who is the front woman of the band Camp Cope?
Oh dear.
I'm out of depth on that one.
Yeah, I would never guess this one. Anyone?
Can't remember her name. I
Georgia.
was just reading the other day
Georgia.
as well.
Yeah, Georgia Mac or something. Georgia Mac.
Yep.
Which Melbourne band released Big Smoke? I've never heard of this band at all.
Yeah, I'm out of tickets on this one.
Rolling Blackouts Coastal Fever.
Oh, I've heard of them.
I've
Oh,
never heard
any
of
of
them.
this.
Who sang
Yeah,
Avant Gardner?
Oh, Andrea.
Yep. Andrea?
Courtney Barnett.
Yes, correct. We're all tied at 4 apiece. Question 15. Which duo is known for Hold Me Back?
Andrea.
Yeah, Andrea?
Is it Savage Garden?
No.
Oh. Oh.
Just give up?
Not a clue.
The Teskey Brothers.
Yep.
Oh.
Yes, you never would have done that.
Okay, 5 questions on pop and chart hits. Which artist released Battle Scars with Lupe Fiasco?
Tom.
Fiasco. Tom?
Guy Sebastian.
Yeah, correct. Who sang Absolutely Everybody?
Oh, who is it? One?
I can sing the song, but I don't know who sang it.
So can I. Unfortunately.
Tom?
Vanessa Amorosi.
Yeah. I reckon
Oh,
Tom's Googling because everyone's just about to give up and Tom comes in and goes, yeah, Tom. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, which band had a hit with Boom Boom? Tom's looking at Google. He's mind controlling Google. And
No, it can't be. Boom, boom.
No.
no. You give up,
What
Tom?
are those good? Cool.
Tom.
Yeah.
Vanga Boys.
They're not Australian.
Oh, then yeah, I'm out of luck.
Justice Crew.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, that song.
Yeah, that one. Which Aussie singer featured on Flume's Never Be Like You? If you're listening in, you
I'm
can
out.
put your answers in the chat. Or if you're watching, you put your answers in the chat. Which Aussie singer featured on Flume's Never Be Like You? Anyone? Kai.
No.
Kai. Oh, yes. Which group released Untouched? Think Triple J's Top 100, Australian Top 100.
Oh, we talked about last week. Tom,
Yep,
the Veronicas.
correct. So
Oh,
in the first 20 questions, we have Andrea on 4, Tom on 7, and Wayne on 4. This is where Tom could slip down, so Wayne should catch back up on this. This is Rock Legends. Which band was formed by the Young Brothers?
Wayne,
Yeah, Wayne?
ACDC.
Correct. Which Cold Chisel song was banned in 1978?
Andrea,
Yeah?
son.
Yes, correct, Kaysan. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Hmm.
Oh, get ready for this one, Wayne. Get ready to jump in. Who
No, I'm
sang?
ready.
Who sang "You're the Voice"?
Oh,
Who could it be now?
Wayne,
Yeah, Wayne.
was it John Farnham?
Yep.
Oh, no, that was John. Oh, it was John Farnham, wasn't it?
There's John Farnham. Yeah, it wasn't Johnny Farnham. It was John Farnham when he tried being
That's
serious.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Which band released "Tomorrow" in 1994?
Oh,
1924.
Yeah,
no,
Tom?
24.
Tom.
Silverchair?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Which Aussie rock band had the album Diesel and Dust?
Oh, yeah.
Andrea.
Andrea.
Yeah, Andrea.
Midnight Oil.
Correct.
Midnight Oil.
Andrea, you're on 6. Wayne, you're on 6. Tom, you're on 8. We've got 5 questions left. This is
Come on.
fun and
Let's go.
curveballs. Fun and curveballs.
Are these double points?
For everyone else but you.
That's fair.
I'm going to do them backwards.
Okay.
Which Aussie artist had a hit with Somebody That I Used to Know?
Oh, Andrea.
Andrea?
Goiche.
Yep. Which hip-hop group released the Nosebleed section?
Tom,
Andrea.
Tom?
the Hilltop Hoods.
Yep. Which artist released Can't Get You Out of My Head?
Oh, Wayne,
Wayne?
Kylie Minogue.
Correct. So, Andrea, you're on 8. Wayne, you're on 8. Tom, you're on 9.
Oh,
Because everyone's getting 2 points except for Tom. Which
Tom.
Aussie band?
Oh, good.
Which Aussie band is known for the song "Sweet Disposition"?
No.
no.
Tom,
We give up. Everyone give up.
the
Everyone give up.
Tom just
Yep.
Googled it.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah.
Go on, Tom.
the Tampa
No, we give.
track?
Everyone's given up, aren't they? Everyone give up.
Yeah.
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 It's a
Okay.
temper trap.
Oh,
Oh,
What did you
All right,
say,
come
Tom?
on.
What did you say it was, Tom?
I accidentally said Tampa.
Oh, Tampa. Oh, well, I'd take that point off you. I thought you said temper trap.
No, I said Tampa.
Oh, okay. Andrea 8, Tom on 9, Wayne on 8.
This for all the chocolates.
This for the chocolates.
This is okay. God, this is exciting.
Okay, let me
this
just.
is it.
Yeah. What is the name of Kylie Minogue's debut single?
Wayne,
Yep.
Locomotion.
Correct. 2 points. 10. I could unmute. I had Tom on mute in case he tried jumping in on you.
Yeah, he wasn't getting
Oh, you didn't hear me. You didn't hear me say, "Oh no."
There you go. So I'll look at it. Look, our guests have won 2 weeks in a row.
That's right.
Oh,
It's awesome.
that means You have to come back and defend your title, Wayne. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to come back and defend your title. So,
Oh, I'm happy to.
yeah.
Very
Cool.
good. Oh, wow. Wayne,
That's great,
thank
mate.
you so much for sharing those stories with us. That was just brilliant. Yeah, really good fun. Thank you so much.
My
Yeah.
pleasure, Andrea.
No, yeah, like I tell everyone now, you've been on the show, you're part of the family. You can quite welcome to come back.
Great.
And just
I've got a
whenever
CD
you
launch
want.
on Friday night if anyone's keen.
you got a what?
CD launch at Clancy's. I was going to try and sneak that in.
Oh yeah, you should have done that all the way through. When's that? On Friday.
No, it's this Friday, yeah,
Yep.
at Clancy's.
So anyone in Fremantle on Friday, go to Clancy's, head down to Clancy's. It's in Fremantle, isn't it, Clancy's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 3, at the fish pub. There's 3 Clancy's, one
That's
in
the one.
City Beach,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom should have had that
the
on
other
the.
one I'm not sure.
Tom should have been all over that on the gig guide.
I think,
Oh,
I
well.
don't know.
Yeah, he should
I
have.
think
I don't know how to do certain things, so I think we'll be right, mate.
Yeah. All righty. So I'm going to just hit the end on the stream. Thank you, everyone, for who tuned in. We had a heap of people tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed it. Wayne, thank you for joining us. And, make sure you come back.
Pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me on.